Hi there, and welcome to Graham's Guide, Friday Live, this Friday, the 15th of July. Thanks for joining me today. So Friday Live, this is obviously not live, you're watching a recording, but the reason why I call it Friday Live is because I just attempt to do this in one take. So whatever mistakes I make, you're going to see them, and hopefully, it creates a more human, more authentic experience than, something that's highly produced. It's all done in one take, so the good news is I don't have to do any editing either. But you have to put up with the occasional, with me flipping through screens a bit clumsily. Alrighty, so let's get straight into it. Speaking of flipping through screens clumsily, there we go. Okay, so you can see I need to have an agenda because otherwise I will babble off topic like I'm doing right now. All right. So today's agenda, we're going to be looking at academic sources, the essential readings and how to find them, and also citations and references. Now, I've added a supplementary activity in the Module 1.6 discussion on dream careers, where you can find an activity that will, I want to pull the Band-Aid on citing and referencing. So head into the 1.6 activity again. If you have already been there and posted, go back again. And I just want you to write 3 sentences that includes 1 citation to the future work skills reading, and then also pop in the reference for that citation as well. And it's all fully explained there if you wander in and have a look. We'll have a look at it before we finish this video as well. Look, so I don't have it here. I was going to have some references here. Let me just go back just a second. I'm just going to get my references and be right back. Okay, now which screen? Probably this screen. Okay, so when I went to uni, these were our essential readings for one subject for one unit. So you can see that's about 500 pages of readings. And these are actually photocopies from academic books and academic journals. Photocopying is allowed for academic purposes. They have a disclaimer here somewhere that will explain all that. So photocopying the academic journals and books is perfectly okay in this particular setting. But you can, I don't know if you can see, but there's a green page between each section, and each section has about 50 pages of reading for 1 week. So this first book was the first half of the teaching period, weeks 1 to 6, and then this section B was the second half of the teaching period. So about 50 pages of academic reading every week. That's a lot of work. Okay, so the good news is, let me get back to my agenda screen. How we get there? So the good news is that in this unit, and there's not going to be 50 pages of academic reading for you to do every week. Let's go in and find where that academic reading is. So if I click here on modules, and then scroll down to, actually just before I scroll down, well, I'm going to scroll all the way down. So if you go to the very bottom of this modules page, there are the references for all of the sources used in this unit in both Swinburne Harvard and also in APA style. So if you click on these, that will give you the references. Here's the week 1 references. Here's the Davies, Fiddler and Gorbis future work skills reading amongst them. So when you need your references for your reference list, you can just come here and copy and paste this into your reference list. The citation looks a little bit different, so you won't copy and paste this as a citation, but it is a correctly formatted reference. So if you're concerned about formatting a reference, you just come here and copy and paste it. For these ones that we have, I mean, if you're doing wider research, you're going to have to work out how to format the reference correctly. But for the essential readings, they're right here. So just come here. Let me go back now to the modules. I need to go back to the top of this page. Alrighty, so this is week one. You would have gone in to the week one focus. You click on here and this gets you going. There's a little gaming thing here, it shows you here at week one. And then you click on next to go to the next module, which is 1.2. This is the introduce yourself module, module 1.2, where you put your video or you've written a text post to introduce yourself. That was so busy. I mean, this first week has been so busy with all the posts. You can see here in all of the groups. I can see all the groups, but you can't see all the groups. But you can see there's well over 100 posts in many of the groups. So that's a if you're wondering why it's feeling a lot of fast and furious action, it's because there is a lot of fast and furious action. But don't let that overwhelm you. You don't have to read every post. You just need to go in and get an idea of what's going on and, contribute your own post. But then, of course, it's a great courtesy to reply to your fellow students' posts as well and acknowledge what they've their introduction or whatever they've said in each week. Anyway, so that was module 1.2. Now, if we click on next, we go to module 1.3, and this is where we find the first essential reading for this week. So we go down here a little bit, and here's the title, Essential Reading, and this is the reading here, the Future Work Skills 2020 reading. So if I click on this, it's going to open in a new window, and here it is. It's 19 pages, so that's good. It's not 50 pages, but it is 19 pages, so that's quite a bit of reading for your first week. You will need to take a close read of this future work skills reading because it will be important as we continue through the weeks of this unit. This is one of the key readings, so I'll point them out to you as we're going along, which ones are important and which ones I highly recommend you read. This is one of them. It is, as I just said, it's 19 pages. And the publisher here's some information that's useful. The publisher is the Institute for the Future. They're obviously connected or collaborating with the University of Phoenix Research Institute. And down here we see where it says the credits. You can see the author, Anna Davies, Devlin Fiddler, Marina Gorbis. Now this is important because when we're doing our citations and references, we use a system which is called the author date system. So when you do your citation, it must include the author and the date of publication. So where is the date of publication? Here we go, 2011. So the authors are Davies, Fiddler, and Gorbis, and the publication date is 2011. Let's keep that in mind for future reference. No pun intended. All right, and then you'll need to read through this. Now, you may find the reading a little bit heavy going if you're not familiar with academic writing. Many of you are new students, and you will find this a bit challenging. But when you don't understand something, come and ask in the discussion boards. We don't expect you to understand what you're reading. We expect you to ask and gain more information. The first academic reading I didn't get past the first paragraph without reaching for the dictionary at least half a dozen times. So there were words there and phrases that I did not understand. I didn't really have anyone to help me either. Or at least I didn't ask anybody, but you've got plenty of people to ask. You've got your fellow colleagues here to ask. So as you go through this reading, the Future Work Skills reading, when there's something you don't understand, pop in the discussion board and ask something about it. And your fellow colleagues, fellow students can help you, and I'll pop in and provide some information as well. Alrighty, now, I just want to try and bring this reading to life, so to speak. So this Institute for the Future, that's not an anonymous organization. That's something that probably does exist. In fact, look, let's go to Google Maps. How do I get there? Google Maps. I'm going to pop in here. Yes, Institute for the Future. I've already done a search for it. So here's the search for the Institute of the Future. It's in California. Let's change it to the satellite image. And let's just go in. Oh, it's right on the corner. So this Institute for the Future is a place that does exist. If we go to Street View, maybe we can see where they have coffee at the morning tea. So it's this building here. And you can see it says here on the front door. How do we get to that? Scroll in. Institute for the Future. It is a real place. I'm not going to look around to see where the closest coffee shop is, but well, there's their lunch place, the Fountain Grill, Peninsula Fountain Grill. So look, the Institute of the Future is actually a real place, and I think that's important to understand when it comes to academic writing and research, that these places are real. And in fact, this is the Institute for the Future homepage. If you go to iftf.org, this is the homepage, and if I did a search here on future skills, I'm doing search on future skills update because there's actually a updated document that I'd like you to check out at some point. All right, so here are all of the returns. So future skills, that's the update. Look, I'm not going to go into this detail right now because it will become too confusing, but let's go back to the homepage. And if we scroll down, it's got some more information about them here, who we are, for example, and let's click on staff and see who these people are behind the future work skills. So here are all the people. There's actually real people behind this institute. Oh look, Marina Gorbis, one of our authors, she's the executive director of this organization. So that's pretty cool. So you can find more about authors if you want to by going to LinkedIn, and you'll find information about these people. What was all this? Anyway, let's go, let's just go in and do a search on. There she is, Marina Gorbis. So Marina Gorbis exists. The other author was Devlin Fiddler. There's a picture of him, and Anna Davies was the other one. Davies, Fiddler, and Gorbis. Anna Davies. Which one is it? I don't think it's that one. Anna Davies. Let me just put in future. I can't spell. There she is. So this is the third author. So now we've seen that those three authors actually exist, Davies, Fiddler, and Gorbis. And in fact, Marina Gorbis is the executive director of the Institute for the Future. Okay, so this is just a big graphic of in the reading Future Work Skills 2020, they talk about 10 future work skills. So here they are here. If you're looking at this on a small screen, you're going to have a bit of trouble. So you might have to open this up on a desktop computer where you've got a larger monitor to see what's going on. So here are the 10 skills. There's sense making, novel and adaptive thinking, social intelligence, transdisciplinarity, new media literacy, computational thinking, cognitive load management, design mindset, cross-cultural competency, and virtual collaboration. So we'd like these skills, these 10 skills here, to inspire your unit goals and your course goals. So when you're thinking about unit and course goals, perhaps one of these will make sense for you. Maybe social intelligence is a soft skill that you would like to develop and have that as your goal. Like your goal over the course of this unit is to develop your social intelligence skills, or maybe you want to develop your virtual collaboration skills. And given that you're studying online, developing virtual collaboration skills is probably a good idea. For those of you who are dealing with people, maybe in teaching or psychology, cross-cultural competency is a skill that you would like to start to develop, or if you already have skills in cross-cultural competency, maybe you want to develop them further. So you can start to see why this Future Work Skills 2020 reading is so important. So I highly recommend going in and doing a close read of that. There is another updated version of this that I mentioned. I'll pop it in a link to it here. And this is the updated version of this document. Now, the reason why I like this updated version is because it goes into, it's got those 10 skills, but it puts them into specific groupings. So it's got, under people skills, it's got cross-cultural competency, social intelligence, and virtual collaboration. Under applied knowledge, it has novel and adaptive thinking, cognitive load management, and sense making. And then here are some skills for the workplace, such as new media literacy, a design mindset, transdisciplinarity, and computational thinking. Please do not feel overawed by any jargon that you might see here, or words that you're not familiar with, or phrases that you're not familiar with. Keep in mind that this is the first time that you're seeing this essential reading, unless you've already had a look at it last weekend. But as you're looking at these things, they may not make sense straight away. It may take a little, workshopping, reading other people's discussion board posts, listening to me chat about these things. But eventually these things will start to make more sense to you. And if they don't all make sense, some of them will start to ring true. For example, these days, cross-cultural competency, that concept makes sense to many people, because in the workplace and in schools, we're dealing with people from different backgrounds and different cultures, and the idea that we can communicate across cultures is an important concept. So even though this might be the first time you've seen this term or phrase, cross-cultural competency, at some level it might make sense to you. So, and that could be the same with many other of these 10 future work skills that you see here as well. So I hope that starts to make a bit more sense. Deconstructing that first essential reading. I'm not going to deconstruct every reading that we go through in this unit, but I thought it's important to do this first one to try and, lift it off the page a little bit. It's not just a blank, it's not just a digital document. There are people behind this document. There are authors behind it. There is an organization behind it. And then the information within the document, you need to work out how you can apply it, or how it applies to you, because you will need to support your writing by citing and referencing our essential readings. So bringing these documents to life, I think, is important. Hopefully it draws you and the documents a bit closer together. If at the moment you're feeling separated from the academic reading, hopefully this sort of deconstruction of a source, of a piece of academic literature, starts to bring you closer together. Alrighty, now finally, I did say about let's pull off the Band-Aid with this citing and referencing. So if you go into the module 1.6 essential reading, I'm coming up to 20 minutes here. I'm sorry this is longer than I had hoped for. Anyway, if you go into the module 1.6 essential reading, not essential reading, the module 1.6 discussion, and scroll down, I have got a link here to the future work skills, but that's not what I'm talking about right now. I'm talking about this supplementary activity where I suggest we need to pull off the Band-Aid of citing and referencing. It says here, at some point, you just pull off the Band-Aid and it hurts, but then it's over and you're relieved. So what I'm talking about here is you might have to endure a little bit of pain as you write 2 or 3 sentences. What's going on here? As you write 2 or 3 sentences, you might endure a little bit of pain, and that pain is part of the learning curve. So you're going to be learning how to cite and reference. But I don't want you to keep it simple. If you read through these instructions here, I only want you to include 1 citation, and I provided examples down here as well. So pop into the Module 1.6 reading. Have a read through this. If you don't understand it, feel free to ask questions. Just go down here to the bottom and click on reply and ask your questions, or alternatively pop a post in here that is 2 or 3 sentences with a citation and your reference. Alrighty, that's enough from me for now. So let's catch up in the discussion boards. Thanks for your patience and for staying with me to the very end if you're still here. And I'll see you in the discussions. Bye for now.